How are you feeling in Project 2025 America, my friend? How's all this landing for you?
Well, you know, Lurie, I don't know if you remember, but when you, myself, many others were trying to ring the alarms about Project
Hmm.
2025, there were those that were saying Project 2025 has nothing to do with Trump,
Yep.
that Trump said it himself. It's misinformation. You even had some black folks, if you looked in the comments, saying like, there you go again. This is just
Hmm.
misinformation. It's not true. This is a mask off moment because what we said has come to pass. Project
Right.
2025 is the chapter and verse MAGA Bible. And we know so because you look at the executive orders, they track with Project 2025. When you look at the
Right.
people in his administration, they track with, they are the authors of Project
Yep.
2025. And so I just want to remind folks, and this isn't a I told you so, but this is a get ready moment,
Yeah. I
right?
mean, I say I told you so. You can say get ready. I'm petty. So I'm going to say get ready because I told you so. I'm going to say it both. I'm going to say it both. So, for me, Maurice, I spent so much time warning people about Project 2025 in the hopes that people would hear it and would vote to protect their collective best interests. That did
Yeah,
not happen, at least not to the degree that it would have needed to prevent this from happening. And
yeah.
so for me, part of the adjustment period has been like, oh, right, this is that thing I told us that was going to happen. Oh, so now we got to deal with it, right? And so a lot of folks have been saying we knew this was coming and we're ready. I think we knew it was coming, but I don't think a lot of us put a lot of time into preparing for what it was going to be like if it actually happened. Because I think a lot of us were putting out the warning thinking we can prevent this, and we could have, but the nation did not do so. So I'm curious for you and for the folks at the Working Families Party, how are you all now dealing with the aha, it's here, try to tell you, try to warn you, and like Lurie says, she petty, so now we get the FAFO together, but the FAFO is going to be really painful for those of us in our communities. Maurice, what are you seeing, and how are you all navigating this moment?
Well, I want to have real talk with folks because there are the Byron Donalds of the world, and then, there are the Nellies of the world that are able to kind of get little crumbs from the MAGA table, right?
Mm-hmm.
That ain't you if you're listening to this,
Right.
right? That ain't you. And so for the rest of us, this is an opportunity for us to do what we've always done historically. What we need to
Mm-hmm.
do is double down on organizing, double down on coming
Mm.
together, on finding organizations, joining organizations, and doing the work, especially on the local level, because presidents are not kings. Power is diffuse in this country. So much governing happens on the local level, on the county level, on the state legislature level. And we need independent Black voices more than ever to
Mm-hmm.
stand on business as far as what a Black agenda has to look like, a
Yeah.
Black economic agenda, a Black social agenda. And we're going to need our folks to turn out there are elections, there are local elections. So we passed the presidential election, but there are critical local elections that we're going to need our folks to turn out on. And
Right.
because anti-DEI is anti-Black. So what we're going to
Yes.
experience is the most intense anti-Blackness you can imagine, right? And
Mm.
it's going to first feel a little subtle, like the executive orders, how does that impact my life? But reality is going to come at us really hard. And so we
Yeah.
have to prepare, and we can't do it as individuals. We have to do it collectively, right? We have to
Mm.
come together. And like, I love the fact that you're promoting Black businesses because a lot of us are going to recognize that it's going to be harder to operate in an economy where there aren't
Yes.
guardrails to protect us
That's right.
against redlining and blatant racism and things like that. We are going to have to protect ourselves and support our businesses. There's going to be
Mm.
less economic opportunities for us because those guardrails, all of that DEI stuff, held power accountable so
Right.
that we could get those opportunities. And so I think this is going to be a moment, hopefully, where we are not just um, I think what they want for us part of the MAGA energy is the chaos and
Right.
the and the cruelty. The cruelty is the point. They
Yep.
want us to be disorganized. They want us to run from one fire to the next. We need to be focused. We need to be organized. We need to find organizations, and we need to stand on our agenda.
I love that. And finding organizations is a fundamental part of this for me. I had to go into Jersey yesterday. And so I was leaving from an event in Brooklyn, went up to Penn Station and get on New Jersey Transit. And for the very first time ever, Maurice Mitchell, I was one of the first people in the car, and I like to sit in if you're in New Jersey Transit, I like to sit in the seats that are like face each other, not in like the
Mhm.
two
Me
rows,
too.
because
Me
I
too.
just feel
Yeah,
yeah,
that's my.
because the doors open a lot, so I feel like there's more fresh air flow in that area. I mean, I've got this whole COVID science of like how I try to navigate. But Maurice, there was a Rangers game, right, and the hockey game, and so the train starts to fill up, and at a certain point, I looked up because I was reading something, and I looked up and I realized I'm the only black person in this section of the train.
Mhm.
And ordinarily, that is not a thought. I would have looked up and looked back down. But I
Yeah.
looked up and I was like, no, I'm really the only black person in this section of the train. Now, most of them got off at Secaucus, so like it was quick. It wasn't like a long journey. But then I
Yeah.
looked and I realized at the very other end of the seat, there was another sister there, but she had been, sort of hidden behind other folks. And I became aware of my hyper awareness in that moment, because in addition to the federal contracting provisos going, in addition to the anti DEI that pertain to the corporate space, the interpersonal space is also going to be a different reality. And a lot of you are about to find out just how many of your neighbors, maybe if they didn't have a MAGA bumper sticker, they're still in alignment with MAGA ideology. And so everything is in the process of being rewritten. And it's almost as if the sleeping racism giants who were just taking a nap, they have been reawakened in ways that I think we are going to find out is going to almost I don't know. You know how like if you get a good night's sleep and you wake up extra excited about the day. You get a good rest and you're
Mm.
extra urgent. I feel like it's gonna be like that. Like I don't feel like it's gonna be subtle racism. I feel like racism is like, ha ha, I am here, and we're going to see it in every arena. Let's talk about why you are suggesting that part of our response should be joining organizations and getting connected and intentionally buying black. And y'all, I'm serious about FUBU February. You might not be able to spend all your money in blackness, but we have to get into a space where it is our default presumption that the first place I'm going to think of when I go to spend my money is with a black institution. Why do you suggest that we need to also add or joining organizations and becoming active in those organizations as part of what this era will require?
Right. So I come from the protest movements, right? I've been an organizer all my life, and we have a chant: the people united will never be defeated. It's a
Mm,
chant, but it's also, if you're a student of history, you know that to be true. Whenever we as a community have come together, or any people have really come together and stood on business, they've been able to topple dictators. They've been able to bring corporations down. They've been able
yep.
to change policies, change the world. Any major change in this country has come from that. Most of the major changes in this country have come from us, right? And in this moment where they're trying to go back to 1950, they might even be trying to go back to 1850, honestly,
Yeah.
right?
I say
Um,
like 1750 because 1850 was like 10 years before the Civil War popped off. That don't give them enough cushion. I think they want like 1750.
right, right. So they, they're reading from the 1750 hymnal, and one of the things that they're trying to do is they're trying to divide and conquer,
Yeah.
right? They're trying
Yeah.
to they benefit, their project benefits from people feeling isolated, from people, especially black folks and everyday working people of all stripes, arguing with one another about this or about
Mm,
that, so that people like Elon Musk, people like Jeff Bezos, and the billionaire class could run with it. That's their aim. When we're united, we're able to deflect that. When we're united, they can't run those games on us. When we're
right.
united, we actually have enough voter power where we could vote our people in and vote their people out. When we're united, we actually have enough purchase power where we could use
Mm,
our purse in order to move things. When we're united, we have enough labor power where we could strike and we could actually tell the bosses what time it is, right?
mm,
So this is an opportunity, I think, for us to be united, and as Black folks specifically, and because there's this debate inside of the Democratic Party, you know, are we being taken for granted? Or it's on us to stand on a Black agenda and to argue based
Mm.
on that Black agenda. If we want any of the parties or any of the political establishment to take us seriously, it's through us uniting and standing on that line. It's when we're not united and unclear about our agenda, we're able to get lost in the sauce, which sometimes happens. You know, man, I feel really bad. Honestly, I felt some sympathy for all those Black MAGA folks. None of them, man, they could not find a position for them in the cabinet. They were making things up. They made up the thing for Elon. They couldn't make something up for Byron. I feel bad for them.
Byron Daddy's home. Donald's couldn't get no
Daddy,
love.
Daddy's home.
He said Daddy's home.